guys, this is Lauren here. I'm here with Caitlin, my friend and co-creator and a co-writer for a web series we're developing called Partial Nudity Required. So Caitlin and I have worked together, in school, but we've never creatively collaborated professionally before. As both being actors, we've kind of been really, sick of being at the mercy of this industry. So we've taken matters into our own hands, developing our own body of work. So Caitlin, as a fellow actor, I know that there has probably been, if there has been a moment in your process where you've decided that this is it, you have to start making your own work. What was that moment for you?
Whether or not it was a specific experience, I can't call to directly, but I think it was a matter of I'm 24 years old. I've just moved back to LA, and we've been acting the majority of our lives, and I'm at this point where I don't want to be at the mercy of an industry that may or may not find me valuable, and when we clearly do this because we feel passionate about it and want to. So I think the moment was probably when I moved back to LA. I had a series of experiences, have it be auditions or meetings with people where they're often illegitimate, and they're often a bunch of people who don't take you seriously, or you find yourself in situations that maybe you don't feel good, or that are going to direct you in this way that you see your path going. And I kind of just felt like there's almost no excuse not to be making your own content at this point, and that I don't want to just lay back and watch my career not happen, or my creativity not be expressed because I'm waiting for other people to make it happen for me. So I would say the moment would be when I first moved to Los Angeles, or back home to Los Angeles a year or so ago, and I went on a series of auditions where I'm it's just, you can't, it wasn't working out. And I didn't even, at the end of the day, also, you're at the mercy of other people's projects where, you might not necessarily believe in them to begin with. And I just felt like it was time, now being home, being settled, to take matters into our own hands. And I feel like you felt the exact same way.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think that as an actor, you have the per se traditional trajectory that you might have had 10 years ago or 5 years ago of coming here, getting an agent, getting your headshots, and then suddenly getting auditions? What do you?
Yeah, I mean, it never works out that way. It essentially doesn't. Unless there are obviously scenarios and when people are very fortunate to have that happen, but you can't rely on that, and you can't think that is the norm, especially right now in 2016. I just, the industry is changing. Have it be because of YouTube, or people creating their own web series such as us, or people, or just Netflix and Amazon, but then it's also very old-fashioned, such that it relies on you being a child actor, or being connected through certain means. And there are just so many ways you can go about it that unless you take control of your own career, you can't rely on networking at this one thing, and then you talk with the agent, and the agent wants to sign you, and then you're making, or you're in projects. It's you can't rely on that, and you can't really rely on anybody but yourself. And I think it's laziness at a certain point to just wait around for that to happen. So I think that the whole trajectory of moving to LA, getting an agent, getting auditions, being in your first pilot, that's not how it works. Because there are so many different avenues. It's how do you get the agent? How do you get into the union? How do you find your collaborators? How do you find a community that you can trust? How do you find, how do you have money to finance certain things that you need in order to get started, such as getting a headshot, such as getting the reels, such as, there are so many aspects and elements that go into being a working actor, that the one thing in your control is creating your own work.
Totally. Yeah, and it's we're still figuring out steps
of course,
as well. Yeah. But if someone had told us verbatim certain things, we either would have listened, or we would have just kind of gone within our own, whatever our path was. But you kind of have to be ready.
But you gotta find something that you're passionate about, and I think that was the hardest struggle for me for so long, since graduating from school, and recognizing that you gotta move fast, you can't be lazy, you gotta make shit. I was what do I want to make? Like, I don't have a writing background. I don't have a directorial background. Like, I'm unworthy of creating my own work. And, like, that's just, like, that's not going to help you.
No.
And so you have to, like, reach inside yourself and think about, okay, like, if I were to get a script that I wanted to be in, or if there was a certain project that, like, I personally relate to and I can start from there, what is that idea? And I think for us, it's creating a web series about the struggle of navigating an industry that you often don't have control in. So you just start with that, like, what speaks to you.
Write about what you know.
Write about what you know. That's what everyone always says, right? So I think you could just trust that.
Yeah.
And move from there. Like, I think often for me it was like the idea of like trying to create like a really innovative script or like be like really imaginative, and it's like just like start simple and honest.
Yeah.
In whatever happens, and then you can get more imaginative.
And the more truthful you are, is when people will, you'll find people that want to work with whatever you're making, because people essentially as creators, you want to be honest.
Yeah.
You want to create honest work.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not to say that like we have it all figured out, because we don't. But that's the point. Like, it's kind of fun figuring out how to figure it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because then if anything,
the
like,
journey.
you're always exercising your creativity in one way or another.
Yeah.
Or, like, regardless of what the final product is, it's about the journey. Right?
Well, thank you.